For the last couple of days, the team over at Facepunch have been hard at work with committing tons of updates, and while there is so many that it may make this video super long, let's rather focus on some of the more interesting updates we can take away from the last couple of weeks or so. First off, let's start with the most recent news I've covered. A day ago, Alex finally started pushing out updates for creating your own standalone game, including numerous amount of fixes to the game exporting wizard. This is most likely in preparation for Facepunch to present Valve with the idea of the feature to be added into S&box, but if you want to know more about this in detail, feel free to check out this video here on screen. Next, let's talk about the age-old question of when the game's actually releasing. So far, after the most recent game jam, Gary has mentioned that fixing the player population issue would be actually solved by releasing the game, which he mentions is something that both him and Facepunch want to do right after their next game jam, which would be quote-unquote soon. This would make the most sense to do after a game jam, as there would be more games really available for the masses that will most likely pick up the game and check it out when it does release. Another thing I've talked about is how Facepunch has been working on numerous game projects for S&box, as we've gotten many new hints at some of these games and what they're going to be like, with updates made in the background like Rogue FPS, the new Opium updates, Unicycle Frenzy making a comeback again, and a new shooter-esque game called Twin Stick, which seems to have access to using a controller as an alternative playing style. It has been noted before that S&box does indeed support controllers, and rather it be an Xbox or PlayStation controller, it also does support the Steam Deck and VR controls too. I'm rather interested to see more controller integration and VR games moving forward to the release of S&box. Let's talk about performance and quality of life updates. Some of these I've mentioned before, like how the game engine itself has been moved over to the Vulkan API for better performance, as Facepunch has been getting updates from Valve in terms of code and things to use for their version of the Source 2 engine. Another one of these performance updates that many people have been waiting for in the S&box community is GPU shadow culling. In short, this allows to render shadows only when needed to save on performance. So it's nice to see that Sam is finally doubling our FPS after months of waiting alongside Matt as well. And as per usual, with more updates to the Terry customizer and new hairstyles and costumes being added by Dan, plus hopefully more future updates to the realistic player models and character clothing and customization we can hopefully see in the near future, it seems like Facepunch is really ramping up with some more new stuff coming very soon. Also, I know there's tons of you guys that have mentioned to me when exactly keys are coming back, and while it has been incredibly radio silent on Facepunch's part for this for the last couple of weeks or so, my best theory is that we're going to start seeing more of these keys come out around the time of the next game jam when it gets announced. With some wishful thinking, I hope that this would be around late spring to early or mid-summer of this year, as it would make S&box a summer release and a perfect time for many people to get on and try the game and also fight lower player population counts, as the game would finally be open to basically anyone who wants to play and more. Of course, as we do get closer to S&box coming out and wanting more simplified updates and game showcases for the near future, definitely hit the subscribe button to be locked in for future updates and notifications on all things S&box and more. Also, definitely feel free to check out this video on screen if you want to know more about S&box, and thank you for watching.